Hello, everyone. My name is Gwozdecky, and as introduced, I'm starting my 4th year of mechanical engineering at the University of Toronto this coming September. But for the last 8 months, I've been working at Synaptive Medical, a neurosurgical engineering company where we design robotic arms to help neurosurgeons in the operating room. I'm also a foodie, a yogi, and a space junkie. By day, I design robots, and by night, I am the director of the Space Systems Division for the University of Toronto Aerospace team. And that's the half of my life that I'm going to talk to you about today. The tell me more about Saturn's moons and SpaceX landings half. The half that I spent the last 3 years designing a small satellite with a team of undergrads. So today, I'm going to tell you about how being a part of this satellite team has changed my leadership philosophy. I'm going to share a very powerful experience of the last few months that has changed the future for teams in this field. And lastly, I'm going to explain how this has impacted me, my team, and our future. So, the University of Toronto Aerospace team is composed of over 100 students from across the university, from all different faculties. All of us are furiously passionate about aerospace. We build UAVs, quadcopters, satellites, and rockets. We would shout from the rooftops about aerospace if we could. In first year, I was part of the rocketry team. And then for the last 3, I've been part of the team building this Wonder Bread-sized metal blocks. And as of September, I'm the lead. Leadership is something that's always come pretty easily to me. I've never had trouble making decisions or helping people. But one thing I have noticed in the past is leadership techniques are no longer as effective with young people as they used to be. What I mean is that strategies of the past need to evolve just as their membership does. This is especially important for the teams of today, including my own. What I mean is, leaders of the past, technical leaders, were prized for their knowledge and understanding and ability to use designs to solve their problems. They were experts in their field first, and then they became leaders. And that was still their primary contribution. So I have a few examples for you. Deke Slayton, Wernher von Braun, and Marc Garneau are all examples of this. Deke Slayton was a test pilot, an astronaut, and then became NASA's first chief of astronauts. Wernher von Braun was, of course, a rocket scientist, the chief architect for the Saturn V launch vehicle, and then became a NASA deputy associate administrator. And Marc Garneau, engineer, astronaut, and then became the president of the Canadian Space Agency. But of course, there are lots and lots of other important characteristics for strong leaders, including experience and personability. But I argue that in the 20th century, the most important thing a leader could bring to their team was their knowledge. And this is different today. I believe that being the knowledge expert is no longer the priority. So why is that? Well, because in today's modern world, members of technical teams have access to learning resources wherever and whenever they want. Mentorship and research are no longer the only ways to acquire technical knowledge. But not only is learning easier, it actually can be dangerous for us. Young people can often be isolated by internet connection. And this is important because we've found that one of the most important things that leaders can do in their teams is to be present. I'm going to give you an example. So on our team, on our first iteration satellite, Heron Mark I, I was the thermal lead. Our team was full of technical experts, but we never actually had consistent leadership. What I mean to say is our leads would cycle in and out, sometimes as often as every few months. Next, we would work so hard in our workspaces, but that was all we did. I started to feel pretty isolated. And I felt isolated and then started to resent my team. This is pretty dangerous. What became important for us then was our hard work and how at the end of 2 years, we generated a beautiful satellite. We took it to Ottawa, and it passed vibration testing, which is a fundamental step in our pre-launch checklist. After that, we drove it back to Toronto, and the team pretty much disbanded. After that summer, I was asked to be the new director. Well, of course I said yes, but none of the team from the previous iteration decided to come back. So I actually had a pretty unique opportunity to restart and rebuild Heron Mark II with a new set of leadership values. And I knew from the very beginning that I was not going to be the technical expert, just as I wasn't on this team. but I still had a chance and I wanted to take advantage of it. And what I mean is, I actually don't have the skills to support 70% of the design of the satellite, but, you know, I do my best. I had to carve out my own profile for leadership. Now, what did that look like? Well, for me, that looked like lots of open and frank conversations with my team. We sat down in October, and we said, what was our team culture going to look like? We wanted to be hardworking, compassionate, and not only about our team culture, but what did every person need to succeed on the team? I wanted my team to be friends first, and not only know that they could rely on me when times got tough, but that they could rely on each other. These concrete conversations made us come up with some pretty interesting changes to our team dynamic. So some of the things we end up doing now is we have personal meetings where we discuss each other's workloads and how lives are going. We also do things entirely outside of our own work, like we'll go support one of our own when he goes and performs on stage. These values have taught me important lessons, and one of them is I need to understand where people are coming from. So I asked my leads that very question. I asked, what brings you to this team? And what keeps you here? And thankfully, the answers varied widely, just as I had expected. Some said, because I love space. Others said, because I want to hone my engineering skills. And even some said, because this is the future. Why anyone chooses to arrive on this team, I honor that every day. And I'll do my best to ensure that those reasons are guarded. So these concrete changes and these conversations led to this incredible support for all of us. And I, as the director, for the first time, feel supported on my team. I trust that my team is going to deliver not only technically, but we'll support each other. Because we're all in pursuit of the same goal, but with our own true motivation, our own true value behind us. One of the ways I was able to solidify this was I asked my team another question. I asked, what are the most important things that technical leaders deliver in teams these days? Well, the answers were experience, vision, ability to remove roadblocks, and enabling one's best work. That is exactly what I was hoping to hear, because there is a need for sensitivity in today's technical teams. Investing time in developing a team's support network is just as important as technical progress at the onset of a project. Well, how do I know that? Let me tell you a little bit about our goals. Heron Mark II aims to follow Heron Mark I in its goals. We aim to create a microbiology experiment performed on a small satellite. We aim to perform experiments on a fungi called Candida albicans to see whether or not it could pose a risk to astronauts on long-duration missions. Heron Mark II also aims to be a platform that will eventually be open source, allowing scientists and students from across the world to perform their own experiments. Why is this so groundbreaking? Well, actually, NASA's been the only one to make this happen. So, yeah. We're trying to do it too. And if we're able to do that, it means that we're making it orders of magnitude cheaper. And making it open source increases the accessibility of space for all. And that's the goal at the end of the day. But it's one thing to design a satellite, and it's another thing to try and launch it. I mean, all of us have wanted to put something in space. Everyone on my team. And for the last 3 years, we've tried to make it happen. We've talked to the Canadian Space Agency. We've talked to banks. We even thought about our crowdfunding campaign. But nothing was able to cover the cost, which can be upwards of $300,000. Our last bet was to go through the university and ask students for help. Heron Mark I's team tried to put a levy on student tuition this last year, but failed in the first of 2 stages. Heron Mark II's team was committed to try again. So what does that look like? Well, if we're able to charge all 43,000 undergrads on the downtown campus a small fee, then we could afford launch. But let me tell you, the process is full of red tape. We have to go through the initial petition, and then secondly, the campaign period. So, to pass the petition, you have to collect over 2,000 signatures from across the university with a representative distribution. 1,300 of those have to be from the arts and science faculty. Luckily for us, half of Heron Mark II's team is from that faculty. So we had a broader reach from the very beginning. So what did we do? Well, we created a plan. And every day, all of us would go to classes and collect signatures. We'd pass out forms. And if students signed, it meant that they supported us in our cause enough to let us move on to the campaign stage. My team was stellar here. Some would skip classes and skip tests to collect signatures. I'm not condoning that. But they really were incredible. Our collection rate was pretty consistent until trouble struck. The student union informed us that the campaign period was moved up 2 weeks. So we had 4 days to collect 1,000 signatures. 4 days to submit all our information. Instead of freaking out and dooming ourselves to failure, we rose to the occasion. So what did we do? Well, we created a plan and we scheduled every moment from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. of those 4 days. I would even go to work at 6 a.m. so I could leave early to collect. We all made sacrifices. But you know what? After the first day, we collected 800 signatures. What a relief. And by the end of those 4 days, we had collected 1,000 more than we originally needed to. And that all came down to my team. So the next step, well, the campaign. You can actually see on this graph when the student union told us about the date change. So as I said, the campaign. So the campaign, we wanted to educate and inform students, as well as make sure that everybody knew the specific benefits of our project. We wanted to convince students to pay $2.77 per student per semester over 2 years. And that would total $500,000. So how did we do it? Well, we had to create a very interesting, thought-provoking campaign. And these are the questions we would ask students. We asked questions like, do you know how hard it is to put something in space? Do you know how to fill a test tube in space? Our main goal was to allow students who might not be as space literate to tune in and find the answers online. Once again, my team was incredible here. They built this. They put up posters. They created interesting content. And all I could do was sit at work and hope that all went well. That's really hard for me. I'm always the one to make things happen, but this time I just had to trust that my team at school was doing their very best to spread our message. On March 16th, the voting period ended. And I just had to wait to know if we were going to have the chance to make my dreams come true. So these last 3 months of levy planning, though, I've had the most vivid daydreams. They were all-consuming. I would see in my mind that the levy went through, and I could just feel the tears welling up. And this was every single day. It was so overwhelming that I swore that if I let it continue, it would come to life. I was so scared of success, and I was so scared of failure that the result was going to kill me either way. But the day came anyway. March 16th, I left work, and on my way home, I found out the levy passed. And I broke down and started crying on the sidewalk. It was the most resonant thing I've ever experienced. It was like something came into alignment. Like all the sacrifices I had made, missing birthdays and social events and not seeing my family, like all those things, those sacrifices were made worth it because those people supported me from the very beginning. This levy has taught me the value of letting my team follow their own true value. This levy has taught me that whatever I give my team, they're going to give it right back. And this levy has taught me that my role is threefold. I am the cheerleader, I am the program manager, and I am the best friend, and I play those simultaneously. Seeing the work that my team put in to make this levy happen excites me beyond belief for our future. Now, what is our future? Well, now that the levy's passed, my role has changed slightly. I am now responsible for team-wide timeline development, which essentially means making sure that we hit all our launch requirements. And I'm also liaising with launch providers, which is so cool. I also do general team admin, and I'm still the thermal lead. But I've also been restructuring the team. We've recruited a new systems designer to help us with our integration. And from a mindset point of view, we've been reprioritizing to talk to experts in the field and learn everything. We've been asking questions about how to plan our design decisions, how to redefine our goals to make sure we're set up for success. I know my team is just itching to get back to design work. And who knows, down the line, maybe this time next year, Heron Mark II will pass qualification testing. And then in 2019, we'll stick her in the deployment mechanism and say goodbye to our pride and joy. But let me tell you, this excitement goes way beyond our team. We have the chance to establish a consistent launch program at U of T. Imagine being able to launch a satellite before you graduate your undergrad. That's within our grasp. If we renew the levy every 2 years, we can make that happen. And firstly, this is unheard of in Canada. And this would essentially establish U of T as the forefront for Canadian undergraduate satellite development. We just want Canadian students to have more access to space. And I'm part of a team that can do that. I'm part of a team that believes in the value of a new leadership philosophy, a philosophy that believes in allowing everyone to follow their own true value, and that there is such benefit in a well-rounded approach to harness the potential of a team. Giving every team member the freedom to succeed allows us all to see the possibilities ahead of us. Our possibility was the levy at our fingertips. Now, one of our most revered advisors said to me before the levy passed, he said, you know, most student teams don't succeed, but I think yours has a chance with you. And while I'm flattered, I think there's a lot more to it. I think it goes both ways. I think I have a chance at my dream with my team. And I think that that's the most important thing. I think that this levy has been a life-changing experience for all of us, and I'm inspired beyond belief for what's to happen next. I'm humbled to be able to be on a team and lead a team that has supported me in my dreams since the very beginning. The world is opening up for young people. All we have to do is give them the confidence to approach their dreams. So thank you to my team, and thank you all for listening.